We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcasts are at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of For the Love of Music, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guests today used to be or have been on America's Got Talent and got cut off way too short because of COVID. We're going to learn all about that story, but they are VOCE NOVA. Their names are Natalia Tsvi and Gilad Paz. I hope I have pronounced that properly. They are both people that have learnt their music separately and came together and then found they really liked that combination. Both of them grew up in youth groups in Israel. She earned her bachelor's and master's in music performance and voice and music education from Brooklyn College Conservatory, and he earned a bachelor's of music and voice performance from the Aaron Copland School of Music at Queens College. When they met, they had recently recorded a classic crossover album, and he had created a classical crossover concert concept. So that meant that there was a little ignition going on there. Oh, got you back again.
Okay. So we're actually gonna try to get some things off.
Now, folks, I know they froze when I did that introduction. We are in retrograde. That means that it interferes with the internet. And occasionally you might see them pulling some faces because they're frozen. Bear with us. We will get back with you. Now, as I said, they were on America's Got Talent in 2020 and unfortunately got interrupted by COVID, which made it very, very difficult to continue on. But I want to know how these two got together. They met. They both have a musical background. But how did they mix their two different styles and merge it together in a way that is cohesive? If you've listened to any of their music, it's part opera, part all about that bass. It's kind of some beautiful ones you put together there, and it complements each other. But when you kind of hear them separately, you think, how can that go together and be complementary? Well, they found a way to do it, and this is what their journey is all about now, and all the music that they do. So welcome to the show, you two. And I want to know, did you hear each other's voices? Did you sing on the same song and then found, hey, I like the synergy?
You want to take this? Should I take this?
Take this.
I'll take it. Okay. So it all started in February of 2018 when Natalia and I actually met to discuss a performance that we were asked to do. We've known of each other before, but never actually performed together. And a mutual acquaintance of ours actually...
We're frozen again for having a bad connection today.
Out of all opera hits, just the greatest hits of opera. And when we got together to talk about what this might be, we realized in conversation that we have very similar backgrounds, both in life and in music. We both were born outside of Israel and moved to Israel at a very young age. We both grew up singing in different kind of youth groups in Israel, which are a very popular way for kids to sing, the same way that, in an American high school, you would sing in the High School Musical. That was the kind of way that, you do it in Israel. And we both, after serving in the Army, moved to the US to pursue a vocal degree. However, we both also we realized that we both were also into crossover music. So Natalia has actually recorded a crossover album. I created opera, which was essentially the precursor to VOCE NOVA, which was a concert concept that combined rock and opera. And we're like, ooh, there's something interesting here. We need to find a way to make something happen. And then I saw her performing. And that sealed the deal for me.
Right.
because I went back after that performance. I saw how she was hanging with the audience, how she was communicating, the way that she sang, and how she commanded the spotlight. And I went back because I record everything I do incessantly. I show my wife, Lisa, who is our co-producer. I showed her this video and I said, "What do you think about this woman?" She's like, "She can hang. You need to do something with her." And I'm like, I could not agree more. So that is how this is how VOCE NOVA really started. Mm-hmm. And from there, we chatted and we said, okay, what can we create that is going to be ourselves, but also be a lucrative way of making an income through music? Because, you know, that's just part of being an artist in the 21st century. And for us, it was really combining the background, our musical backgrounds, what we love most, and bringing it into light in a different way.
I love that. I love different interpretations. You may love a certain interpretation, but then somebody comes along by honoring the original, but by then taking it out onto a different branch and showing that there's so much more to it if you can show it in a different way. And it stretches it out. It has it reach other people that other people haven't connected with it before. And, I always like the food for thought. And when you've got a song that either you want to sing along to or you want to move to, or it just makes you feel, right? That's when you've had the connection. So the connection you're talking about, Natalia, with your audience. My mum was a stage actress. She loved the stage because it was the audience and hers energy dancing together.
Absolutely.
And she could perform very well without an audience, but with an audience, she illuminated. So I imagine that you have that same relationship with an audience where the energies meet and you dance together. They illuminate you and you inspire them.
That's why I fell in love with performing and singing. It's not about the claps. It's not about recognition. It's not about being famous. That's not my why. That's not why I do what I do. It's such a much for me, it's almost like meditation. You run on stage, you're singing, you're not thinking. That's how it should be, at least, right?
You're being.
And you're being. Exactly. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, you're speaking the same language here. This is amazing. I mean, yeah.
This is it. And this is what it's truly about. And that's why people love performing. They don't really know why, but it's because it's very addicting, this feeling of being outside of your body, feeling something is carrying you, or you become a vessel of something bigger than you. And you just give it to the world, and what comes back, it's beautiful. And this energy exchange, and again, coming back to Gilad, that's why it works so well, because our energy together.
Another freeze. She's saying together.
My back, I got his back. If he messes up a word, I'm fall on the stage, or my mic is not working. We know how to jump into one another's and make it work,
right?
And that's what it's all about. And and of course the audience, and then I feel like anytime we go on stage, it's you can't even explain it. And I can't wait every time I go on stage. Like, there's nothing like being on stage with this person, and I'm so lucky and honored to have him as a partner and an off stage, not in a romantic way, but as a partner to this journey.
Singing husband.
Yes, 100%. It's exactly what it is. I was just away for a couple of weeks, and we're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you so long.
It's true.
So we're very grateful for this relationship.
And that finding each other is so very important, because it's not about completing each other, about complementing each other and bringing out the best of each other by embracing each other's strengths and then pulling those strengths together, right? Knowing what not to overpower, but to cohesively align. And when we hear people singing in kind of harmony with each other, in sync with each other, it just magnifies.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's so beautiful. Exactly.
I've always had a guilty pleasure in interviewing musicians, because I know you're not trying to find yourself. You're just trying to make a living out of it, but you're not trying to find yourselves, because the music's already in you. You are it, right? And there's a beautiful guitarist, Justin Johnson, American blues guys, and they make him guitars out of spades or oil cans or anything. And as long as it's got strings, he can make it play. And he and the instrument are one. And with singers, when your voice, obviously it's with you, but when your voice becomes an extension of you, but you know it is you, it's your soul voice. It's, you know,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
channeling through, and it's the soul voice that comes through.
You could disconnect from it, which a lot of
Oh, yeah.
singers do. And honestly, I think we're both kind of got ourselves out of the classical world because we kind of didn't want to be in that rule
Right.
where living by some kind of rules of how to sing and to
Yes.
sing in a certain style and certain way and very like limited. I felt limited. And I know
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure Gilad too at some point. And that's why we created this outlet called VOCE NOVA, where we don't have any rules.
Right.
The only rule is have truly the most like fun and really express ourselves in the most authentic way and show it in a musical way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And really use cool instrument and cool concept and cool mashups and cool everything to really bring up such different perspective to crossover. Because crossover, let's be honest, it got a kind of a place very repetitive where you take a song, you put some violin, you like take a very well-known song, like I don't know,
It just becomes a bit of an easy listening situation,
right?
You know,
Yeah.
you take a you know, a high energy, you know, I mean, like that's a Metallica song or something that is very upbeat, and then you put this kind of you know, what people might think of as classical twist on it,
Yeah.
which tends to be a little bit more easy listening, something that, you know, some of our colleagues that we have spoke with. Yeah, you know, someone told us one, you know, when we were having a conversation with someone in this world, they said, "Oh, I love thinking of someone, you know, of a family sitting around the dinner table and listening to this music," and we're like, "Not us.
That's not happening."
Because for us, and I love that you touched on how it's inside us, because Natalia is outside of her work with us in VOCE NOVA. She's also a holistic voice coach. And her whole approach that I've actually been benefiting from for the last 4 years is the idea of bringing your wholeness into the performing and who you are. And, you know, both physically, mentally, really coming and bringing who you are and who we are fun people. We are people who love connecting with an audience in a meaningful way, but not necessarily only with a gut-wrenching ballad. For us, connecting with an audience is just as good when they are getting up out of their seats and dancing to our version of Libiamo with a Moroccan beat, which unfortunately we didn't get to have with zero audience on America's Got Talent.
Right,
but the dream was to have 3,000 people getting up and dancing to opera.
I know, yes. I mean, it really kind of put a damper on a lot of things. And you know, the comedians trying to perform to the 4 people. Yeah, it's, you know, the thing is, your type of performances are designed for an audience. And when the audience isn't there, where is that fuel that's feeding you, right? Which is the nectar. You know, it's everybody's energy being risen because of what you're singing and the way you're singing it. It's lifting everybody up, that incredible vibration that comes from it. Well, if, you know, from 4 judges just scowling at you, you're not going to get it, right? It's different, of course, if somebody's listening through their headphones, it becomes more intimate and it's one-on-one. But in a performance arena, you need the people.
And you definitely need. And in the history, if you look at AGT, a lot of times the audience really completely changed the judge's mind, because they're like, okay, we can't ignore them booing us. So we might as well let them go through and see what happens, you know? Because honestly, that was just a taste of what we wanted to bring to the America's Got Talent. We brought so many different flavors, and we had a whole
we had ideas about how it was going to go forward. And actually some of the ideas that we had for the show have actually made their way into the VOCE NOVA catalog. For example, Dream On by Aerosmith, which we created into this really cool vocal acrobatics where Natalia is like, you know, going up into the stratosphere, like she's singing the guitar, you know, the guitar part, you know, some ideas that really we were saying this can be really cool. And then in 2021, when we decided to add more songs to our catalog, they kind of made their way in.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that we now have 6 songs out on Spotify, but we are first and foremost performers.
Right.
We are a live act. And,
right.
We love being able to reach people all over the world with our music. And we can't wait to be there live to really give them the full Voce Nova experience.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Have you seen the Elvis movie?
No.
Highly recommend you see it. The young man who's playing Elvis is extraordinary. He's singing, he's doing everything. But really, truly and honestly, Elvis, when he was truly at home, when he was 100% himself, when he was in his space, is when he was on that stage. That's when he came alive. And because he was influenced a great deal by African blues and African jazz and the beat of it, which you can feel through there. Highly recommend seeing the movie. It's very, very good. If he doesn't get an award, I don't know what the hell's wrong with everyone.
You know how those things work.
I do. And Tom Hanks, plays his manager and, kind of a bad role for a change and extraordinary. It's a really good movie. I liked Elvis, but it wasn't my main type music. Right. But seeing his life story, which again, back in that time period, it was a lot of other popular, inject them to go to sleep, pills to wake them up. Let's maximize them as much as we can. We don't care if we spit or choose them up, we'll just get to the next person. And that was very much what was happening to him. But, he truly and utterly, his truth was on the stage. All right. And when you can step up on the stage and you can open up your mouth and you can let your voice go out there, you are sharing your very heart and soul with the audience. Yeah. And when the audience responds to it, it ignites their heart and souls. You're opening people up beyond the words that you're singing, right? You're opening people up and they go away and I feel so good.
Amen.
And it's just that feeling that you want people to leave. It's like, my son's a restaurateur. When people go away with a smile on the face and a smile in the tummy, he's as happy as a Samboy. Right?
I'm a huge foodie, so I understand that completely. And yes, and I just heard someone say, I don't remember who just said that, but I heard someone say that chefs and musicians are the people who give, are the professions that give people the most joy in life.
Right, exactly. And if you're listening to good music while you're eating, wow.
Yes.
I mean, win-win.
I mean, how many times I've been to a restaurant it's like, oh wow, this is great music too. Don't even notice it, and it just adds to the experience, which is wonderful.
You've got some restaurants that put in fast music because they want you to eat fast, get out, so they can turn the table over.
So go there.
Yeah.
No. You want to have that.
Looking at you, corporate restaurants.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the numbers. Now, again, this is my guilty pleasure in interviewing musicians because you have discovered yourself.
A few last year, we actually had a very interesting performance opportunity that combined food and performing because we did a flash mob in a wedding.
Oh, nice.
So they dressed us up as waiters. Myself, Natalia, and 3 of our colleagues that we brought in. And we were just, for about 15 minutes, we were out there on the floor during the dinner, just filling up water, water glasses.
And let me tell you, people were not nice to us.
I know.
I was like, waiters, they need a little bit more recognition.
Oh, I 100% agree. Coming from the restaurant business. Yes, I agree.
And then,
wow.
all of a sudden, we grab our mics.
And
music starts playing, and we just start singing opera. And we sang La Donna Immobile. We sang the famous, actually speaking of Elvis, It's Now or Never,
right.
as we all know, is the Neapolitan. Oh my God, I'm blanking right now.
It's okay.
Oh, dude, it's now or never.
But the most important thing after is singing the song that we sang, La Traviata, the drinking song. But that was interesting because to see their reactions in that specific song that we performed in America's Got Talent, I'm telling you, all these people, by the way, it was a very high-end wedding. a very famous, very rich man.
Very affluent family. Yes.
Right. So the daughter got married, and those people were not really those kind of people that are going to jump out of the seat and dance. Every single one of them took their phone out, stood on their seats, dancing, getting napkins in the air. And it was so amazing to see. And that's the beauty of music. It doesn't matter where you're from, what's your status, who you come from, you understand opera, you don't understand opera, you never been exposed to opera, your reaction is going to be the same. And that's what we call ourselves, what do we call it? The
gateway drug. We are the gateway drug to opera.
And that's the beauty of us. Like a lot of people, they never heard about opera and they think that's just weird and why they're yelling and what's going on there. They listen to us and like, that's really cool to hear. Take me to church with Ave Maria. I never heard that before. And that kind of brings them in. And that's an aria that I kind of remember from commercial, but listening to it a little bit more. And then they're opening themselves up to this whole incredible world that a lot of people miss, unfortunately, and is dying recently. Let's be honest. Like opera needs to really kind of
needs to be reinvigorated. It needs to be reinvigorated and reinvented. And one way to do it is exactly what we're coming from. And again, when we choose these songs, we're not trying to make something different because we want to make something different. It what feels right for us. And that's a big distinction because when we talk about creating something new, and it's not easy to be an outsider. But if you are doing something that is authentic to you and that you feel really comfortable with and you feel like is really speaking to who you are, that's where magic really happens.
That's the truth again. It is. You've got one of the songs which I listened to, which is from the Moulin Rouge. Which is a beautiful one. I love that one. And even
I Will Always Love You versus Come What May.
Yes, a beautiful one. And I loved, the Moulin Rouge was one of those movies that people loved to death or totally hated. There was no in between. And of course, I loved it to dedeath.
I loved it.
Yes, and love the fact that, Ewan McGregor and
Nicole Kidman
are not singers. And yet, they're singing this, and there was a vulnerability to it. There was an honesty to it, and even the Roxanne song.
That was amazing.
Exactly.
That arrangement was amazing. That flamenco arrangement. I remember hearing it the first time, like, whoa, this is super cool.
And the whole visuals, of the movie and everything else. And it took us away from the original music. And through the performance, gave us a totally different look on it.
Yes.
And so it's which version do you listen to now? Which mood are you in? But I mean, there's the operatics of singing the Italian or the German, and you have to kind of love that, or you're not into that. But when we see the merge and the blend into something else, it opens up the door. And I mean, right now, again, on America's Got Talent, they have that woman who's an opera singer who is a ventriloquist. And she's singing opera through her ventriloquism, which is really creative, really quite amazing. It's taking it again to another place, which is wonderful to see.
Thank you.
Oh.
So, when you've got people that are reinventing opera, like the ventriloquist, where you two merging together, where it used to be totally divided, this music or that music, by putting them together and creating a synergy, you're opening up the minds, the hearts, the souls of people to, look at things in a different interpretation. In a way of like, I wasn't really interested in that, but the way she sings that, or way she brings it into the song this way, and then your more baritone voice coming in, and then the two, they dance together, and it just opens people's minds quite considerably to looking at things in a different light, which is an education. So you're educating people.
Yeah, and the trick is, and I'm sure you can attest to it as a teacher. The trick is to teach people in a way that is fun for them and that they are not necessarily feeling like they're being taught something.
Exactly. Right. Yes, I say inspiration begets invitation. When you inspire them, it invites them to want to know more, want to participate, right? So you're the inspiration that invites them to, how can I do this? Or what more can I listen to? Or how do I listen to something in a different way? right? It's broadening that whole perspective. And that's what a teacher does. Help somebody look at something from different angles and different understanding, right?
Absolutely. Wow. You
Yeah.
speak our
Yeah, no, I'm
language.
telling, like, I'm not just saying that. The two of you need to have just like just a conversation offline, the two of you just to talk. I think you're gonna have so much to talk about.
It's
But
crazy.
yes, the thing is, and I said this from the beginning of my kind of, I've been wanting for a while to find a way to connect classical and rock, because
Yeah.
that's always been what I actually, growing up, when I got introduced to rock music, it started with, Deep Purple,
Mhm.
Queen,
Mhm.
big Freddie Mercury fan.
Oh yeah, and he kind of operatic a few things
Exactly.
there, right?
Led Zeppelin,
Yes,
The
big
Who.
fan.
So really like quality singers, very, honestly, kind of
Artiste,
operatic in their
artistes.
way,
Yes, yes,
and the musicians and the musicianship was very influenced by classical music, which
yeah,
then opened me up to the genre of progressive rock,
right.
especially in the 60s, 70s, bands like King Crimson, yes, Gentle
Yeah.
Giant, one of my favorites, that really found ways to combine the classical and the rock world. And being that I don't write music, I'm not a songwriter, this creating something like Voce Nova is really the most me that I ever been on a stage.
Right.
And we love the creative process.
Right.
It takes time to figure out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anything good, I mean, like a good dish,
Yes.
it's not fast food, it's good food, right?
Yes.
And it's like that little flavor of this, a little flavor of that, and let it simmer. And then let the
And
burst
take
of
time and
flavors
try
come
it
through, right? It's the
and
same thing
see
with
if it
music.
works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, try it out. Take a spoonful,
Yeah.
see if it works,
Yeah.
see if it makes sense, see if it makes sense in the context of the restaurant,
Right,
in the
exactly.
context of the menu,
Mhm.
because this is what we do when we create new songs to add to our catalog. At least the ones that are not being requested by our clients, because that's what we do as well. But when we are thinking about what song, for example, with Come What May.
Yes.
It took time to get to I Will Always Love You as the song to put in with it.
Right.
It didn't just come out right away. We were thinking about what we needed in the show, what would make sense, what kind of song is going to be just as iconic to put with it, and what will work musically.
Right. And do justice for both, and not kind
That's
of
the point. Yeah, exactly. Because if it sounds like two singers just singing and there isn't the connection, then it disconnects you from the music altogether. And I just want to go back to what you said about the classical. You were saying that if you're stuck in the classical opera, it molds you in one way and it doesn't allow for creativity or for wings to be spread and look at something else. And then when you take your classical training and you look at it, that training is the very foundation of my understanding of music, how to manipulate music. And then you add a touch of rock to it, which it has its own statement, but you come from that background of almost like discipline and really understanding the depth of the music, understanding the roots of the music. It allows you to bring that music alive in a different way with more substance, right? More substance to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I find that when you look at classical music from a modern ear, with a modern ear, you can actually find a lot of similarities and things that have influenced modern music. For example, Nessun Dorma, when the choir part is played with an electric guitar, it can be a Jimmy Page solo, right? So it's one of those things that we look at and we say, there is something that there are much more similarities than differences in this.
Yes.
And you mentioned opera and how it could put you in a bit of a box. I mean, you can talk about how, you felt being in that world versus how you're feeling now,
Of course, musically and I think also vocally, because our voices, and it's not like typical classical trained singer to be able to sing different genres and change their resonance and change the way they produce their sound, because a lot of time we are raising our soft palate. It's a more heavier sound because we need to carry our voice through orchestra in a big hole. So it's a completely different production of the voice versus pop. There is a little bit more flat. You don't need as much breath support. You don't need as much resonance. So to be able to play with that, to be able to make it a little dirty, you know what I'm saying? Give it some of the flavors, bring you some vocal effects into it. If it's a little more airy, it's a little bit more character, you know, and those are the things that excites me. And I got to a point where I got it. I did beautiful roles that I felt very fulfilled and fortunate to do. But I got to a point where it's like, okay, how many, I don't know, Thais or Tatianas can I do for the rest of my career and doing the same freaking thing? It's kind of like, it's for me, it's like death, you know? So I felt the need, like, okay, I got it. I love it. What's next? And I feel with this, there's never ending. There's always more ideas. There's more things to explore. And, you know, we're so fortunate to perform in different kinds of settings and events, and every client is very different and requests something different from us. And we love that because we both, you know, by the way, Gilad is a business coach for musicians. And this is what we do. We know how to cater and how to customize our product to what people want. Because again, we're not just singing to ourselves. We're singing to bring something new to an event and make it something memorable and not just an event, right? So if we being hired to sing, I don't know, in a raising fund, like
fundraiser or a corporate events, you know, it's about the wow factor.
Always. But it's not about us particularly. It's about the music. It's about
what it does for people.
Right.
How it complements the event or the situation or the people that you're playing for.
You get it, Sarah. Exactly. That's a conversation that we always have.
They get up and perform and it's all very nice, but where's the connection? And if you know what kind of clientele you're singing for, then you know which songs and which way to bring it that makes the client feel that you are truly singing to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yes. It's amazing how many performers don't have the initial conversation.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I do a lot of bookings for us. I do them for an Israeli music cover band. I've been doing this for a long time. And the first thing that I do is I talk to the client, and we talk to the client when they want VOCE NOVA, and we understand. The first thing that happens is letting them talk probably for about 10, 15 minutes to understand exactly who their audience is, what the event is, what is the mission, what is the message.
Oh, we have another froze here.
This is how we see this.
We missed your message there. You had fallen off there. What is their message?
Oh,
if you could just repeat that.
Oh, weird. So where was it? I'm sorry.
What is their message?
Oh, so what is their message? And from there, we are able to come in and say, okay, this is what we think will work for your audience, for your guests. This is a kind of combination of songs, or sometimes it's even one song that maybe opens up an event and gets people excited. And especially in fundraisers, it's really important to get people connected, because then
lift up that energy. It opens
they
up
open
the
their checkbooks more generously.
Yeah, absolutely. But more than that, a lot of people, because they were so unique, it's still like a learning process for people to even understand what we're doing. But once we perform and we did the event, people cannot forget that it's one of those things where it's, as you say, food. You know, we can't explain them the flavors. You can talk about it, but you can't really have them experience it.
Right.
But once you do, that's it.
That's a great idea. You know, maybe we should start marketing ourselves as your favorite dish that you haven't tried yet.
Well, also, is it fine dining or is it kitchen food? You know, is it like what your mama cooked and you want something really earthy and down to earth and connected? Or are you looking at the fine dining client where you have to be an upper level? Now, they've booked you because they obviously like your music. But how do you actually even change your music where it's true to you, but complementary to the audience? To their customer, right? So it is, this is one thing you have a problem with some musicians. No, I'm just going to do it my way. It's me, right? Yes, we want
that's
you
ego.
To do it, that is ego. Yes, but what we want you to do is not sing at the audience, but sing to the audience so the audience feels sung to.
Yes.
It's a conversation.
Yes,
it's a connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm barking and just, you know how many singers like,
over
look
the
at
head.
me, look,
Yeah.
my voice and how I look, and no, praise me. Okay, wonderful. But you feel that the audience is very smart and people understand. And even if you can't put a finger on it, people pick up energy. People understand. So, I mean, what's the point for me? What's the point of singing if it's about me? It's not about me,
Honestly, in opera, I felt exactly what you were saying.
I know.
Like for me,
a lot of singers
my
do.
biggest issue with when performing opera, and I did all kinds of different roles. I did the big, park and bark stuff, lead role, but I loved being a character tenor.
Yes.
And running around the stage and being this like these pompous Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet, very pompous, very but it never really felt like I would be able to connect with an audience, because you're not supposed to. When you're singing opera, you are taught to not look people in the eye. I was actually told that very early in my
I not only want to feel
studies.
you, I want to, and it could essentially kind of even immerse with you, kind of, I want to feel like you feel.
But people get intimidated when I look at you in the eyes and I sing to you something so deep and big, emotionally. They don't know how to take it.
No,
and that's different story.
They haven't been trained, and quite often, there are a lot of cultures that don't look at people in the eyes, and even in the Sunday singing thing, I watch musical competitions because I just love seeing people grow. Those that really have a voice, and you can see them grow and grow and grow and become, and it's wonderful. And those that reach a peak and they can't go any further, but it's technically that's brilliant. You've been trained at Berkeley, you've been done this, you've done that, and it's like, but we can hear the technique from you, but where's the soul from you? Where's the heart from you? And then you've got somebody else that comes out that may sing off key, or it sounds more broken, but we connect with it. Right? What is music? Music is one of the most healing modalities in the world. It's one of the biggest connectors in the world. It is one of the biggest uplifters and representation of how we feel in the world.
It's a vibration.
Why do we listen to music? Because we want to feel it. Not just hear it, la, 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 la. We want to feel it. We want to feel something inside of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you say, voice is healing because it's a vibration. We all consist of 70% of water.
Yes.
So when I sing, I don't need you to understand what I'm singing about. It's about me and the message and the intention behind the words and behind the music. And then
another frozen. Hopefully they'll be back in a second.
And that's the beauty of it. And that's when you understand the power of it, and obviously use it for good.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And that's how I see it. I think we are the leaders of that. And it's so important to have good-hearted musicians and people to be leaders, right? There's a lot of things we can't control in this world, what's going on, what's not going on. But that's something we can control and contribute to this world and bring something good and positive.
You're conduits, right? They're channelers. And when you channel the passion, the conviction, the beauty, the heart, and the soul through the music, you are channeling all that you are out to the people, and it's going to ignite the people that have their souls open enough to be fed. Now, some people, it just didn't connect. No, it didn't connect with me. Well, they're not open yet. But they're maybe just not ready. We have to be open to it.
I believe there's no coincidences.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
A lot of times it's like planting a seed. It's going to blossom later on.
Yeah, water and nurture it. And allow.
And exactly. And it will open up more and more. But again, there's no coincidence. If you're meant to be in that specific room when we are, whatever specific artist, there's something there that needs to be
even if it makes you feel uncomfortable. That is a crack of the opening up, because sometimes we've got to feel uncomfortable to get comfortable. And if you heard something, and it's
uncomfortable is everything that is.
Right, because that the uncomfortable is like I'm not in my own true flame. All right. So if you feel uncomfortable there, for people that have opened up the channel and they feel you and the lane opens up, that channel opens up even more for them, then they're in sync. You fortified them, you fueled them. But for other people, I don't know. Well, that means it's trying to penetrate your uncomfortability and help you clear out and reset and revive yourself into a different frequency.
Boom.
I love that you touched on the uncomfortable. Because both, and it's really interesting because both Natalia and her work with her students and my work with the people that I coach, the idea of being comfortable in who you are especially as a performer,
yes,
as someone who on a regular basis puts themselves out there, is really important. I find, and I think Natalia would agree, that one of the biggest issues is for performers to feel confident enough to allow themselves to put themselves out there in a way that is authentic to themselves,
yes,
and to say, if this doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. It's no reflection on who I am personally.
No.
It's not a reflection on who I am as a performer, as an artist, as a person. It is just not for you. And I always like to say,
not
it's the old
cup of tea,
adage.
right?
And then when you get rejected by Simon Cowell, who was the only person there who didn't like us, but in front of 10 million viewers,
right,
all in the US, and then many more all over the world, you can move on knowing that we brought our A game. We were there for 11 hours in the beginning of COVID when nobody knew what was going on. And for 7.5 of those hours, we were actually in the twilight zone when everything was shutting down because they sent everyone home except for the people shooting the show and the contestants. And we were able to get on that stage and really bring and show what VOCE NOVA is about. To me, that is the win. And as I like saying, it's not us. It's you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
and the fact that he didn't get it, because very often, as you said before, his indication comes a great deal from the people. Right? Now he has quite savvy, and very often he'll stop people and have them sing a different song, and they sing it, and that's the one, right? Yeah. But you've also got to understand, if it's not his style, he's not going to like,
And he said that to us. He said that he didn't like the song. He said, you guys are both really good singers. And he said that.
Yeah.
The only thing he just didn't like, he didn't think it was pop enough, which is, to
it's
each
an opinion.
own.
It's an opinion from the guy who created Il Divo to say that there's no audience for
I know,
this. It's kind of weird, but it is what it is.
But it's okay. But again, things are in the horizon and very exciting things that we can share right now. But let's see.
Yeah,
let's see.
And we are very grateful. And the thing is that also when you are able to show up as yourself and accept.
Not the pause. Sorry, folks, just had a hiccup.
So when you accept yourself and you're able to say, I've worked so hard to come to a point where, and I believe that we train to, we perform at least 80%, which, for someone like Natalia is, 100% or more, like anybody else, even at 80%. To be able to show up and say, this is who we are, this is what we bring to the table, that makes all the difference. All the difference for us as people and as performers, quite honestly, and being able to move on to bigger and better things, and to be able to be grateful for being on America's Got Talent and being and for the production team to put us on the show for a full 4.5-minute segment, which is not a given for a no act.
Yeah.
Put us on their YouTube channel, which we were only 3 out of all of the no acts in 2020 that are still on their YouTube channel.
Wonderful.
And to us, that speaks volumes about our professionalism, about what we do, and about how we connected with those people, even if one person wasn't the biggest fan of it.
Well, you know what? You just look upon it as marketing. It's advertising. It was a great
100%, as
advertising,
seen on
right?
AGT.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. And that's the thing, it's one of the things you have to do in any form of arts as a dancer, an actor, a writer, a musician. You've got to take rejection. You're going to get a lot of it, and it's just the person that maybe looking at you, it's just they're having a bad day and they're not getting it right, and then somebody else you might perform to, even in the same place, and go, oh, I love it. Right. So, we have to understand there's a human element to things, or it's not their cup of tea, and please don't take performers out there, don't take rejection as an end of. Why are they rejecting you? Is it just it's not the style? Is there something that they can give you some feedback on that is productive, that the next thing you're going to do, you're going to tweak something. So it's all learning curve. Everything is a learning curve, right? And you were on in front of millions of people on TV watching it, because I remember watching it, and it was great advertising. Even if you didn't get through, it's great advertising. And I think don't go into this business if you're looking to be rich, famous, and you can't take rejection.
100%. I will just share with you that being on America's Got Talent in 2020 was the fifth time that I tried out for any kind of singing competition. One in Israel, 3 times here, even AGT in 2017, and the 5th time with this wonderful woman right here was the reason why I was able to get in. So even with rejection that they give you no feedback on,
right?
But I learned things. I learned about the process.
Yes.
I learned what not to do. I learned that we had to reach out to a producer directly to start the process. So you learn from every experience that you get in this business. And if you're able to do that, your future is going to be bright.
You've got to have some gumption.
Yes.
You have to have. I mean, the people that get ahead of other people are people who either know how to market themselves or know how to persuade somebody, who know how to step up and say, I want this, you need me, right? So you've got to have some gumption. But it's more than that.
I think musicians these days, they have to be entrepreneur. Like they have to have some kind of sense of, you are a business, okay? And and it's not in a money driven way, right? Money, by the way, it's not evil, it's great, and we have no issues with money.
You're just talking about livelihood.
Yeah.
Honestly, money has allowed us to.
They're going to be coming back. Sorry, folks. They're having a bad internet connection today. That okay? Sorry, another interruption, folks. Money is?
So money is it's a beautiful energetic exchange. But what I'm going with that is that musician, this amazing time that we're living right now, we don't need a third person. We don't need a gatekeeper to tell us yes or no, you are in or you're out. You make your own opportunities. And that's what VOCE NOVA it's all about. Making your own opportunities. You want to hear something out there? Create it. Don't wait for somebody to come to you and give you permission, give you recognition, give you the okay, give you like you're good enough. Go ahead and explore it and do it. Is it going to take time?
Everything on life, not just musicians, right? Yes.
But now we have the internet. We can have a direct. We don't need a label to produce and distribute our music. We can go ahead and do it ourselves. And that is such a game changer for musicians these days. So if you're listening to this, a musician, whoever you are, and you're dreaming to become the next, I don't know what, on musical theater, on pop or whatnot, get off that mindset that you need to be discovered or you're looking or you need to wait for something to come and save you. Go ahead, figure out what is that thing you want to share with the world. Find those people that want to listen to you and just throw it out there, and you never know what's going to come back. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty.
No doubt, no fear. It just is. Somebody will pick up the vibe. I interview a lot of musicians, and one of them recently, it took him absolutely years to put his album together.
It's so great.
And it was kind of having to wait for the right time. And he did it during COVID, where he would do it, his piece, and then the other people virtually would do their piece. It's a fantastic album. And one of it is because it almost gave him permission to slow down and concentrate and allow it to be, allow it to come, instead of going, all right, everybody into the studio. You know, it became more purposeful, more meaningful, right? And it's a jazz album, he's a ballad drummer. So everything's ballad, and so a lot of kind of jazzy, great music. And it was that I believe in myself, but there was a statement he made, and I'm not going to say it right, but he said, you can't make great friends instantly. It's something that you accumulate over a period of time.
Beautiful.
Those good friends that stand by you, you accumulate over the period of time. You can't just suddenly go out and make that friend. And that's what he called upon, friends that had known him in the industry. And each and every one of them put their love into it. So if you have to do anything in business, it's got to be driven by the love of what you're doing. Right?
And I love that you touched on that, because this actually relates in two ways to our music producer, Asaf Avebuch, because our music producer is a dear friend of mine. We were in the Israeli army together. So we've known each other for almost 20 years now. And it took a while to choose the right person. And we ended up going with someone who actually resides in Israel. So all of our production meetings, all of the back and forth about the tracks that he creates for us, and all the conversations are happening remotely.
Yes.
To Natalia's point of being a musician in the 21st century.
Yes.
And to your point about this person creating this album with everybody recording in their homes. This is what we're talking about. It's the
possibilities, right?
It's the friendship and the possibilities that we can create in this day and age, which are absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be in the same room. And the other thing is, you most certainly know, when you've connected with somebody vibrationally, you don't have to be even on the same planet. That vibe has connected. That frequency is always there. You may not see each other for a long time, and then you come back in and it's right where you left off. That frequency is there, right? And that is a capability of everybody, but it's also something that music opens us up to. If we get onto that frequency and ride that musical wave, if we can look at our life more rhythmically and go with the rhythm of life, we would actually have less resistance to the possibilities and the opportunities of life. They'd be opened up a great deal more. We just need to learn that fluidity. Went with that. We're back. So it is about tuning in, isn't it? You know, you don't have to be a musician or a singer to tune in. It's about tuning into life, doing something that comes from the heart. When you do that, and having the business acumen is very, very important. You're the healing vocal coach. This is your gift. This is your instrument here. So one has to look after it. And today, if you are going to be a performer, you do have to be savvy. You do have to have a little gumption. You've got to take all of your artistry and put on all the various hats until you get to a point where you can hand a hat off to this one and that one and that one. But as you're starting out, it's wearing all the hats. Be willing to be open to learn. To learn as you go, to pivot. Don't go, well, no, this is I'm going to do it this way. Because somebody else may say, but how about doing this? And how about doing that? And that makes it better. So we've got to be willing to grow. And if we don't grow, we don't challenge ourselves, and we don't investigate, and we don't get creative, we just become a very sorry story of the same old song.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. It's all about growth. And I will say this to everybody, you know, all musicians listening, find a partner.
Yes.
Because I cannot tell you more emphatically about how amazing it is to have someone else to bounce ideas off of.
That's amazing.
And then the two of us have Lisa, who is our co-producer, who is also coming in from a place of, okay, artists, this is really nice for this, but how do we make it accessible for the lay person, for the, like you said, non-musicians? Every time that we try to when we record a new song, we send it out and we just want to get some feedback. And I've gotten multiple people saying, oh, but I'm not a musician. I said, of course not. if musicians only performed to musicians,
Yeah.
we would all be living on the streets.
Right.
You know, it's
Yes.
most people in the world are not musicians, and
Nope.
but those are the people that we create our art for, not necessarily fellow musicians, you know?
I always have a saying, an analogy, that we're all here to discover what our particular instrument is in life. And with that instrument, we learn how to use it to the best of our ability, honestly and truly, and become it. And then we seek our orchestra in which to join, where harmoniously and individually we can come together in sync to create a symphony that resonates out with everyone else. So
Wow.
it's about being the best I can, so that you can complement the best we that we can be.
Yes.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Sarah. Wow.
Where have you been?
Wow.
Yeah.
We
10.5
need to
years
hang
here.
out more.
It doesn't matter what passion you have. I mean, there's some people, they're not the musicians, they're not the singers, but they love, the management of it or the production of it. They love that. That's their gift. That's their instrument. And having somebody that they can get out there and that those people succeed is their success. Everybody looks at just the singers. But what about the musicians? What about the manager? What about the production? What about the promotion? Because rather like a good dish, there's many ingredients in it. The steak may be the main, the main opponent there, but all those other spices and ingredients in there is what makes it so good. So if somebody's out there, just doing a YouTube and just playing something and think that they can get there just on their own, no. Right? You need your own orchestra. You need your own orchestra to find that you could bring that instrument to, and that you could complement the other performers so that truly together you can make the music. And you might be a solo, but I'm talking about your orchestra being the manager, being the marketer, being the financial person, being the booker, whatever the hats are.
Your
right,
team.
a team. Yeah. Build that team, because you're not going to get there. Even if you got noticed, you need those other people now to step in, because you can't wear all the hats when people are demanding you, right? And you need people to protect you and be your team. Otherwise, you're going to make mistakes, as you will see in Elvis's movie.
Okay, there she is, bringing it back right on time. I like it. I like it.
A lesson learned there, a big lesson learned for any performers, and something that we may not see quite as much, but is still very relevant in there. Of the puppeteer who can pull the strings, but whose strings are they pulling, and are they benefiting the puppet at the other end? The music industry is a very hard industry to be in. So the more savvy you are in looking after your own instrument, your voice, being well mentally, spiritually, physically aligned. You've got to be physically strong and mentally and emotionally strong to survive in this world. And then you need a lot of the business acumen to know, is this a good door to open? Should I be here? What do I charge? How do I be flexible? And if you don't know that, then you need to hire someone that does.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So both of you work individually, but you work with people holistically over their voice. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So I started as I'm a certified music teacher, K to 12, and I was teaching, and I was a music director in a school in Brooklyn. I was teaching everything under the sun. If it's general music, choir, musical theater, even instruments, guitar, strings, sax, name it. I know it all. But I really realized after I started losing my own voice in regular training, and it really forced me to go deeper.
Yes.
And it was a blessing in the sky. By back then, I hated my voice. I hated my body. I hated everything about singing. I felt like my voice betrayed me. And I had a really bad relationship with my voice. I demanded it to be the best. And I didn't really embrace it and exactly, and really allow it to be what it is, and allow it to grow and be enough. It was never enough. And that was like a combination of my childhood, my music teacher, the business itself, expectations and everything, all of that. And that's where my body started to reject it, and my voice started to reject it, and just wouldn't even, I literally lost my voice every single week before important auditions or performances. And it was really, really bad. And nobody could help me. And I got to a point where I said, you know what? I need to take the power back to myself and understand what the hell is going on here. Because it's not technique.
Yeah.
I know how to do it. Maybe I'm not 100%. I knew what I'm doing, but I knew the foundation, but it's something more to it. And I got into the whole mindset and Tony Robbins and different books and holistic and this and that and all this stuff. And literally it's a rabbit hole, right? There's so much to learn. But the biggest thing is the connection between the mind, between our physical state, emotional state, and everything combined together to bring out the most authentic, powerful voice you have. And it's a tricky thing how to do it, and everybody's different. You know, everybody needs a different alignment and a different way. So there's a lot of it's custom made to every person,
right.
And every journey looks different. But it's incredible because, as you said, the voice is a reflection of who you are. And if you go and really work through it, it really heals all aspect in your life and who you are and what you're doing and your relationship with yourself and everything else.
If you are not in love with your voice and its beautiful instrument, the disconnection is not in the voice, it's elsewhere in the body. It's elsewhere in the psyche.
It just reflects it through your voice. 100%.
And so losing the voice is it's your disconnection to your voice. Why are you disconnected? The feeling of unworthiness, or I'm not on the right track. Am I doing things the right way? And we can get down into that rabbit hole, and it can really suck us down there. And you know, the thing is to see those signs and go, oh, okay, this is more than just the little laryngitis. This is something that this is something that the whole psyche is cutting off. And is not believing in. Why? Because there's always the cellular level. There's always a deeper level. It's beyond even your life. It could be your DNA life, it could be past lives. And if we're not willing to get in there and kind of clear that out and set ourselves free, our voices will never be free, no matter what you're doing. So, and you're on the business side of things where you help people in building their business for music. To be the musician or the singer?
Yeah, so I mainly work with two categories of artists. One are people who are actively pursuing a career as a performer and helping them create that, as well as find what my good friend Dana Lynn Varga calls a correlating career, something that goes alongside your performance life and allows you the financial stability and schedule flexibility to pursue a performing career. And the other side is actually I help people come back to music, people who have been in the music field, decided to leave for whatever reason. And, you know, there are a lot of limiting beliefs about the fact that, you know, and we were told that if you don't do music 100% of the time, you are no longer a musician. That is 100% BS. I have been doing real estate for over 11 years now, and I have never, ever given up on any performance opportunity for that work.
Exactly.
So, but what it has allowed me is give me the financial stability and the schedule flexibility to be able to create the kind of the artistically fulfilling life that I can have and invest in projects like VOCE NOVA. And it's really amazing to speak with a mom, for example, who says, you know, it's really amazing. I thought that I was taking myself out of the time. I was taking my time out of my family and my commitments. But I realized that someone said this to me just the other day, I realized that when I give myself 15 minutes a day of focused practice on the performance that I want to get to do in the next 6 months, I can show up and be a lot more present with my loved ones.
Yes.
And that really lights me up.
Absolutely. Basically, what you're showing them to do is how to have the bread and butter, but also allow the jam.
Yes. Yes. 100%. Because the jam makes our life sweeter, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, that's again, it comes to the balance of life. There are very few musicians out there. I've interviewed a lot of working musicians, and they said you're only as good as the gig that you have. There's always then the marketing for the next one. And it's great if you have a team that can do that for you, or you can just concentrate on the music. But, initially, of course, when you're starting out, it's you, again, wearing all the hats. And so you need that kind of security that, the roof over my head, food in my stomach, and I have that extra money if I need to purchase this or do that or do this. And so that when I do get the jams, I can really turn up, show up, and be everything that I need to be. But this is the day and age. My brother is an author. I love his books. He's been writing for years. He was a literary professor, master's degree, but he is absolutely atrocious at marketing. Atrocious at it. Nobody's reading my books because nobody knows what they are. So, of course, I interview him.
Love it.
Because in the little nepotism out there and get him out there. But
hey, why not?
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't be shy to invite your friends that love your music and to say, hey, all of your social medias, promote me like hell. Right? Promote me like hell. And don't be shy to ask. And, I take the example of the Ukrainian president. The way he has not been shy to say to other countries, hey, we need your help now, right? Now we fall, everything else starts to fall. And he hasn't been afraid to ask for that. He hasn't been too proud to ask for that. And this, if we love what we're doing so much, we love the jam so much, then, we're going to ask people, hey, let me spread some jam on your bread and butter. I'm going to lighten up your day.
I love it. Yeah. So true.
So, the performance side of it, being on that stage, singing to the crowd, lifting up their spirit, igniting that wonderful energy, opening up that channel of love is obviously the best place to be. But in order to get there, one has to be practical. One has to look after your voice, your wellness of your whole well-being. One has to look after your business, the business of being able to afford your life and afford to be able to, get that jam on your bread and butter. So again, it's the partnership that you're doing is very complementary to each other, even beyond the voice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You said it so beautifully.
And that's why, and we are so grateful for you for having us on here today to be able.
Oh, here we go again. They can be back.
You talking about this, hearing you talking about this, and there are so many similarities in our collective way of thinking that I know that I experienced some growth with from this conversation, and we really appreciate you having us here.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. As I said, music is always a guilty pleasure for me. It literally has saved me. It's ignited me. It's my comfort and my best friend. It is something I listen to soothe me, to pick me up, to wrap its arms around me, whatever you're needing. Music is something you can always rely on. It's always going to be there for you. It's the very best friend you can have. And it asks for nothing but you to listen. And that, I think, is one of the greatest gifts. An actor can do a wonderful performance, a writer can do a wonderful book, but there's something about music that is so instant and so penetrating that it goes beyond. And I think it's the beautiful healing art in whatever way it comes out. So where is the next performances, and how can people get your music? How can they find you to book you?
Okay, so vocenova.com, VOCENOVA.com is the website. We are, of course, on all social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Voce Nova Music. Look us up. We are also on Spotify as Voce Nova if you want to hear any of the songs that we mentioned here in the broadcast and more. And to get in touch with us for any kind of performances, that will be through our website. We mostly do private and corporate events, but sometimes we do have some events that are open to the public, so keep an eye on that, and we'd be very happy to see you either in New York City, or if you want to bring us to your town, get in touch. We would love to come to you. Okay.
So we're going to close out with one of your songs, just to give the people a taste of what your music's all about. And what will that be?
It would be Ave Maria versus Take Me to Church.
Very interesting. I've heard that one. It's really, really good. Yes. So they're going to pick you up. They're going to have you feeling embracing life with this song. And if you go to the show page here in Self Discovery Media, you'll see a taste of all of the songs from Spotify. And you can go on to Spotify, VOCE NOVA.
Voce Nova.
Voce Nova.
Voce Nova, you know, the British in me wants to go VOCE NOVA, right? So
It's okay.
.com and see all their other music. If you've got an event or an industry event coming up, or a wedding, or bat mitzvah, whatever it is,
Whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and you want that live performance. I love the idea of the flash dance, you know, the flash performance and getting
flash
the
mob,
people
yeah.
up. I love that, because you just see people, it gives them permission just to go a little crazy for a moment.
Yes.
Where normally I'm so restrained, and then all of a sudden it's there, come on and join us.
Boom.
Yeah, they're in the moment, and that's really wonderful. And I think absolutely fabulous for corporate, because everybody's on their best, and this is a great way. Just let it all down, let
Shake
it all
things
hang
up.
out, shake things up, and let everybody just be. And they won't remember the chicken; they will remember the flash.
Exactly.
The
Yes.
flash yeah. So thank you so much for being here today. VOCENOVA.com,
you.
folks, and listen to the song as we go out. And thank you, guys. It's wonderful having
Thank you
you
so
on
much,
here.
Sarah. Thank you for having us.
Until next time, folks, let the music take you away. Bye for now.
Sharpen your knife, offer me that deathless day. The good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I'll worship like a dog at the shrine of your lies. I'll tell you my sins, and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless day. A good God, let me give you my life.
We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations, or follow us on Patreon and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom. And the next show will be up in just a moment.